Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Let me start off by giving a shout out to Hybrid Vigor for something that he uploaded. Woke Progressive 2.0's little rant about mulattoes and biracials was unwarranted. Now, Hybrid put in a hashtag mulattophobia so that you can find videos like this. This probably belongs underneath a wider umbrella hashtag called Blackanoia. Blackanoia is a phenomenon that is in fact provoked, but it's exaggerated. The ironic thing is that Blackanoia is a reaction to other people of color, other non-whites, more so than it is a reaction to white supremacists. Blackanoia comes about when black folks realize that Latin Americans are willing to break that black-brown coalition at the drop of an approval or at the first nod of approval from the Wyatts. Blackanoia is compounded when the East Indians show that they are not just American Negroes with straight hair, but that they are in fact anti-black themselves to a certain extent, mostly the Northerns, but they're actually the ones that you come across the most in the States. And then you find out that the Pakistanis are quick to call you Bandar and Kale, and that they will even throw aside Islam to do it. And then you realize that the Arabs usually just don't think much about you, but will gladly side with your oppressor against you, even against their own faith if they're Muslim. That's what Blackanoia leads to. John Henry Clark said, if you want friends, look in the mirror, and that's a good way to think. But the flip side of that is assuming that everybody is your enemy and that they're as much your enemy as the KKK. Both are extremes. Looking at everybody that ain't a Wyatt to help you cope with the Wyatts is one extreme. That ain't gonna happen. We learned that. That's where the Blackanoia came from. But the Blackanoia led to this assumption that everyone that ain't the most Bantu West African looking is your enemy. Period. And that even those who are your enemies if they have a different nationality and different accent. That's what it comes down to. Blackanoia is a provoked but exaggerated response for the reasons I just stated. I sound like a fence rider when I try to tell you all how bad the sentiments of the racism are when you leave for certain parts of the globe. When I try to tell you how bad it is and how bad it's not. Just to be fair, I sound like a fence rider because this is nuanced. And nuance makes Negroes think that the one describing it is a fence rider. Try to give you an accurate picture as to how far people here will go and how far they won't. For the most part, people here in the Gulf, I'm not talking about the whole Arab world. No, Lebanon's different. North Africa's actually different even. You find more anti-blackness in North African Arabic-speaking countries than you find out the continent. I know, the paradox, right? But that's what it is. A Negro that wants to be an Arab is more dangerous to you than an actual Arab with no black ancestry of which he knows. There's a paradox for you. I'm not proud about that. I don't get a sense of relief saying that. I'm saying that because that's what you can actually observe. Omar Bashir was a piece of work. Running a country called Sudan, which means blackness, or not blackness, but it means black. It's like Sud is the pluralization. Sudan is the pluralization of the pluralization. And he runs this nation named after that. And then some have quoted him to have said that the black folk in Darfur and in the South were monkeys deserving of extermination. I don't know if he actually said it. I'm not sure. But that's not your peninsula Arab from Saudi or Yemen saying that. It's not that. So I'm just trying to give you an idea as to how bad it is and how bad it's not. But then you've got this guy here, Woke Progressive 2.0, as he calls himself, a pro-whack no-tep, who would anger the old school pro-blacks who meant it when they said hotep, even though I think it sounds a bit corny to say that. Man, at least they knew what it meant, and they meant it when they said it. And were not divisive. And did not go around blaming people for conspiracies in which they could not have participated and probably did not even exist. If there's a conspiracy to breed out black, for one, non-black folks can't have that conspiracy and think it's going to actually work. Unless they brainwash the black population. And we can argue how well that's been done. If biracials are not black, then biracials can't sit up here and, plan and conspire to breed out blackness. But let's look at America, because that's what Woke Progressive 2.0 is talking about. And I'm saying it's not as a biracial or a mulatto, though I could be mistaken for one. I'm not saying this is one, because anyone in the golden sphere will quickly tell you that I am not to be counted as such. They will quickly tell you this. Some of them would even be shocked that I would say something like this in their defense, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And if there's any reason that any of them would have ever deserved to be aborted in the womb, it would not be because of their DNA sequence they inherited from the parents. As a matter of fact, they can't do anything to deserve to be aborted in the womb. You got to get older, develop agency and morality and a moral compass, and make moral decisions to deserve something that would end your life. You see where I'm going with this? The reason I'm getting on Woke Progressive 2.0 for saying that biracial babies should have been aborted. It's not something I said, that's what he said. And the reason that I'm getting on him for saying that is the same reason I get on Cynthia G and her camp and Don't Break Bread with Ona Ginger. It's because they say that black male babies should have been aborted in the womb. It's wrong. See, there's this notion that the racially ambiguous looking Negro is confused, especially if he has a non-black parent. It's not the case. And there's no conspiracy that I know. I don't have to be biracial to know that there's no biracial or so-called mulatto conspiracy to breed the black out. Damn sure not in America. Now, that might have been, I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy, because that means that you're keeping it a secret. There was a regular general push in certain parts of Latin America to do that. Blanqueamiento is an open word. It's not a secret word that's whispered. It's a known word. Mejorando la raza, improving the race, was something that's a phrase that was commonly used, still understood. I don't believe in that stuff. A lot of the young Latin Americans today, of any genetic sequence, don't believe in that. But you understand what I'm saying, right? So, let me explain this more. If there's going to be some conspiracy, how is that going to be passed down? See, in order for there to be a conspiracy, unwoke, regressive, what would have had to happen is that biracials would have had to conceive with each other to have multi-generational biracial babies. That's not how this is working, though. That's not the way this goes. It's usually, most commonly, a black man of any percentage of black blood and a white woman. That's usually the case. That's usually how biracials and mulattoes come about nowadays. Now, if that baby is born a boy, in America, his options in black women, period, are limited. Limited. He gets older, he can probably be a black woman's sneaky link. If he's race loyal to black women, he'll be the sneaky link, or he'll be by himself. If he's really race loyal to the concept of the black family, then he won't be with married women or even just women that are in a committed relationship, so he'll be by himself. Because them sisters don't want him for nothing other than a sneaky link. And a lot of sisters don't even want him for that. And if you think That I'm talking about how bad and how hard it is for him to bring it back to black. Boy, for him to get with a woman of any black admixture similar to his own in appearance or actual genotype, that's impossible. Because women of that genotype and phenotype do not pick their male counterparts. And that's not just in America anymore. The UK and Canada and the Caribbean is the same thing. That ain't what they want. They don't have to want that. But if this is not how they're choosing, then how the hell is there some conspiracy? Who's gonna pass that down? The monoracial black dad? Hey, listen, the goal is to breed out my blackness. Okay. Or is it gonna be on the part of the monoracial white mom? Hey, the goal is to breed out your father's blackness. How you gonna tell a kid that? Because if the monoracial dad tells the kid that that's the goal, and the kid's old enough to understand to keep it a secret, then the kid's gonna look and say, why did you get married at all? Why did you have kids at all? You could have stopped your line right there. Got all forms of birth control. You wouldn't have even had to be celibate. And if it's the mom and the kid's old enough to know to keep it a secret, the kid's also old enough to know that that's not a secret they're gonna want to keep, because they're definitely not gonna keep that a secret. The mom says the goal is to breed out your dad's blackness. Well, why did you F him then? Some conspiracy, huh? Yeah, a real secure idea that would be. The only way that could be a conspiracy going down from generation to generation is if you had biracials coupling up and conceiving multi-generational biracials. It's the only way that would happen. And that didn't really happen intergenerationally in many cases, except in really New Orleans and maybe Charleston. And in all honesty, that stopped even there. That stopped with the 80s. Boy, 1989. By the time the calendar turned over to 1990, that was over. Done with. Even there, it was unpopular to a certain extent. Now, New Orleans is not so much looked down on unless a woman says, that's all I want. Charleston, I don't know about anymore. But for the most part, no. So, if you live in one of those two cities, or you live in a third city even, where that is what they're still doing, and they'll tell you that, then just say that that's what they're doing where you live. In the meantime, let me ask this, Mr. Super, since you think you so pro-black, was that somebody else or was that you on Taz Exclusives confessing to having indulged in 9AY prawn? If it wasn't you, let me know. But let me know who it was. And if it was, then you need to close your mouth and don't speak on this no more. Because if there's anything that old school pro-blacks have always agreed upon that was not black, wasn't African, wasn't pro us, and wasn't good for us, it was that 9AY business. Thanks for listening, y'all. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, and Black Heterosexual Non-Select Male Power just because they don't like it, and Black Patriarchy till extinction or Judgment Day. Without the genocide.